The medieval period was a time of great chivalry, bravery, and adventure, and the armor of a knight played a crucial role in this fascinating era. The armor was not just a protective garment, but also a symbol of the knight's status and achievements. In this video, we will take a closer look at the different parts of a knight's armor, including the helmet, shield, gauntlets, and neck protection, as well as the horse's armor. We will also explore the various materials used in creating these armors and the artistic and heraldic designs that adorned them. Join us as we delve into the world of the English medieval knight and the role of armor in their battles and adventures. In medieval England, knights donned metal armor made of iron or steel to defend themselves against archers and sword-wielding foes. Starting in the 9th century, chainmail provided protection while allowing mobility, until solid plate armor became more widespread in the 14th century. A knight's outfit included a crest-topped helmet, a shield bearing a distinctive coat of arms, and a liveried horse, all designed to both safeguard and intimidate. The awe-inspiring appearance of a fully armored knight was so compelling that armor persisted despite the advent of firearms and remained a favored attire of the noble class for oil painting portraits even into modern times. Medieval armor pieces have been preserved over time and, along with contemporary texts, illustrations, and knightly tombs featuring carvings of the knights in full armor, provide a glimpse into the past. Knights were responsible for obtaining their own armor, but sometimes a lord or baron would provide them with a complete set or individual pieces. Records also show that lords would replace armor damaged in battle. Knights who were struggling financially could rent armor or win a set by defeating an opponent in a tournament or battle. The upkeep of armor was typically handled by a knight's squire, who would clean and polish it. The arrival of smooth plate armor was a relief for squires and blacksmiths alike. Despite the advent of firearms in the 15th century, armor was still being used, even tested against bullets at close range. However, the age of knights was ending, and they were soon replaced by soldiers who required less skill and less expensive equipment. Chainmail armor was widely used by knights from the 9th to the late 13th century, and even into the 15th century when worn under plate armor. It was made of hundreds of small interlocking iron rings held together by rivets, allowing it to conform to the body's contours. A hooded coat, trousers, gloves, and shoes, made of mail, could cover the entire body except the face. The coat, called a hauberk, extended to the knees and had leather laces at key points, such as the neck, to ensure a snug fit. The hood was padded or lined and could be fastened over the mouth with a ventail. A padded tunic, made of 2 layers of cotton stuffed with wool or cotton, provided extra comfort and protection under the mail coat. The trousers, worn over leggings, incorporated the shoes, often with a leather sole for better grip. Alternative options included mail stockings, mail socks, or padded leather rolls over the thigh. Extra metal plates might be worn on top of the mail to protect the shins and, less frequently, the elbows. A cloth surcoat was often worn over everything, extending to the knees or feet, tied with a belt, and split at the front and rear. The surcoat allowed the knight to display his or his lord's coat of arms, but many were of a plain color and their exact purpose is unclear. They may have served to protect the armor from rain or the sun. At the time, the mail suit weighed approximately 13.5 kilograms and was mostly carried on the shoulders, but could be made lighter with a belt or by shortening the cut. Despite stopping sword slashes, it was not enough to stop arrows or prevent serious injuries. During the mid-13th century, intermediary styles of armor appeared, such as the coat of plates, which was a poncho made of rectangular metal plates tied with a belt. Other styles included chest and back plates, as well as rare-scale armor made from small overlapping pieces of iron. By the second quarter of the 14th century, knights were wearing steel plate armor over their chainmail. The breastplate became more common, as well as greaves for the legs, plate metal for the cuisse, and arm protection with a vambrace or pauldron. By the second quarter of the 15th century, knights were covered from head to toe in closely fitting steel or iron plate armor, replacing the undercoat of chain mail with a more comfortable padded clothing with some small pieces of mail at exposed areas. It was rare for knights to wear a surcoat or jupon over their gleaming armor. The various components of armor were connected through the use of laces, straps, and hinges. The neck was enclosed in a circular plate made of metal, and gauntlets became wider with conical cuffs made of steel. A full suit of armor weighed between 20 to 25 kilograms, which was evenly distributed across the body, allowing the knight to move with relative ease. It typically took just 10 minutes for 2 squires to help a knight put on the armor for battle. Despite popular depictions in some films, a crane was not needed to get the knight on his horse, and a knight wouldn't be defenseless if they fell off their horse. However, the armor still posed a threat in the form of heat exhaustion, as ventilation was poor. Additionally, the armor was unable to stop arrows such as the bodkin with its long, unbarbed head. The helmet, also known as a helm, was crucial in protecting the head and face. Conical helmets were initially made from a single sheet of steel or iron, and were later reinforced with interior bands. In the mid-13th century, full head helmets became more common, featuring a single horizontal slit for visibility. These helmets were reinforced with vertical metal strips and were flat-topped. Alternatives included the bastonet or cervelier, a simple iron skull cap. By the start of the 14th century, conical helmets returned, extending lower down the neck and featuring removable visors. The helmet was lined with materials such as leather, horsehair, or grass for added comfort, and could be adjusted with internal straps and a scalloped lining that was tightened with a drawstring. A chin strap kept the helmet in place, and ventilation holes were added to the lower front for breathing. From around 1330, some helmets had visors that extended like a snout for improved ventilation. Some helmets also had a plate hanging down to protect the throat, while others, such as the kettle hat, featured a conical helmet with a wide brim, though these were not common among knights. Medieval knights could decorate their helmets by adding patterns or designs to the ventilation holes, or by attaching elements such as feathers and even painting them. By the end of the 13th century, crests were popular and could be made from materials such as metal, wood, leather, or bone. These crests could have a simple fan-shaped design or represent 3-dimensional figures. The most elaborate helmets were generally used in medieval tournaments rather than on the battlefield. By the 15th century, helmets were less flamboyant, although some knights wore a single plume to display their fashion sense. The first shields used by knights were long kite-shaped shields, made famous by the Normans. These shields gradually decreased in size over time and eventually became the straight-edged shields with tapering lower edges that are commonly seen in heraldry. Shields were made of wooden planks covered with leather or thick parchment on both sides, and were often painted with the family's coat of arms. Although the thickness of the shields is unknown, they were likely about 1.5 centimeters thick. Shields were carried using 3 straps riveted to the inside, and a pad was used to cushion any blows against the carrying arm. A 4th strap, known as a gauge, allowed the shield to be hung from the neck when not in use. By the mid-14th century, concave rectangular shields with curving edges were introduced. However, by the end of the same century, shields were primarily used in tournaments as the presence of plate armor made them redundant and cumbersome in battle. Another alternative to the large shield was the small circular buckler, which was made of wood and had a central metal boss and a single hand grip. Some effigies show knights wearing what appears to be a stiffened leather neck protection. A similar figure can be seen in the tomb of a knight in Wells Cathedral, England, dated 1230 CE. Another form of neck protection was an aventail or mail curtain that hung from the back of the helmet. Gauntlets were used to protect the hands, and some were fitted with metal spikes to turn them into weapons. Armor could be decorated, if the wearer could afford it, with embossed designs, such as their coat of arms. Crusader knights sometimes wore a 3-dimensional cross on each shoulder, and the small shoulder boards known as ailets provided another option for symbolic and heraldic display. However, these latter additions were likely made of parchment, wood, or leather and served no practical purpose as armor, and were not common after the mid-13th century. The knight's horse was also an opportunity for armorial display, and some horses wore a cloth caparison that covered their head and ears. Other options for protecting the horse included a two-piece chain mailcoat, a padded helmet, a plate head covering, or an armor plate made of metal or boiled leather to protect the chest. In conclusion, the armor of an English medieval knight was a vital aspect of their military and social status. From the simple yet effective chainmail to the ornate and decorative plate armor, each piece was designed to protect the knight in battle and reflect their status and wealth. The materials and designs used in the creation of their armor evolved over time, reflecting the advancements in metallurgy and warfare. The study of medieval armor provides us with a fascinating glimpse into the world of the knights and the society they lived in. We hope that this video has given you an insight into the intricate and captivating world of medieval armor and the role it played in the lives of English knights. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and educational content.